You felt the spark, the eye contact, the warmth in her laugh, the way she leaned in just a little closer than before. It was real. You didn't imagine it. There was a connection, undeniable. But now, she's gone silent. No calls, no replies, no explanation, and your mind is racing with questions. What happened? Did I say something wrong? Did she change her mind? But what if I told you? Her silence isn't distance. It's not rejection. It's a test. And most men, they fail it before they even realize the test began. Because here's the truth no one tells you. When a woman pulls away, most men panic. They chase. They explain. They perform. But the man who stays calm in her silence, he becomes unforgettable. Why? Because while she pulls back, she's watching. She's measuring your gravity. She's asking a silent question. Is this man unshakable, or just another guy who folds? This podcast is for the man who's felt that shift, for the man sitting in silence, wondering what went wrong, and for the man who's ready to stop chasing and start becoming. Because by the end of this episode, you won't just understand why women ignore you when they care most. You'll know exactly how to rise in that silence and become the man she can't shake. So now you're here, sitting in that uncomfortable silence, wondering what to do next. And that's where most men make the fatal mistake. They act, not with strength, but with fear. They text her again. They call late at night. They post stories hoping she'll see them and suddenly care again. But here's the truth that will set you apart from every man who's ever come before you. Her silence isn't meant to destroy you. It's meant to reveal you. It's not the end of attraction. It's the proving ground of it. She's not pulling away because she stopped feeling something. She's pulling away to see if what you said you are is actually who you are, because words are easy, but presence, calm, grounded, masculine presence, is rare. And now, in this silence, that's exactly what she's looking for. Let's break this down. 1. Her silence isn't rejection, it's a mirror. Let's break a myth right now. When a woman who loves you goes quiet, it's not always a sign that she's leaving. In fact, sometimes it's the deepest form of connection, but not the kind you're used to. See, most men panic in silence. They start texting too much, calling, posting things they hope she'll see, trying to trigger her back into action. They interpret her silence as abandonment when often it's assessment. She's not punishing you. She's watching you, feeling your energy, asking one silent question. Is this man real? Women don't fall for what you say. They fall for what you are when nothing is said. Let me give you a real-life example. There was a man named Jason, fitness trainer, confident, sharp. He met a woman who matched his intensity. They clicked instantly. For months, things were electric. But one day, she grew distant. She didn't call, didn't text. Jason panicked. He sent 5 messages in one night. Is everything okay? Did I do something wrong? Just checking in. She didn't reply. And she never did again. Why? Because when she pulled back, he collapsed. Not physically, but emotionally. And all the strength she once admired in him crumbled in a matter of texts. She didn't pull away to be cruel. She pulled away to feel his stillness, to see if he was the kind of man who needed her, or the kind of man who attracted her energy by standing tall in silence. He failed that test, but you don't have to. Here's the truth most men never hear. When a woman is emotionally invested, she feels everything, even what you try to hide, your insecurity, your fear, your desperation beneath your polite text. Women are intuitive by nature, not because they're manipulative, but because their biology was built to sense safety and danger. So when she senses that your strength is only surface level, that you need her attention to feel worthy. She pulls away, not because she wants to hurt you, but because she wants to know, if I disappear for a moment, does he collapse or does he remain steady? That's the difference between infatuation and attraction. Infatuation is desperate. Attraction is magnetic. What you must do, instead, don't chase. Don't over-explain. Don't turn into a performer. Instead, build, deepen, focus. Her absence shouldn't be a hole in your soul. It should be silence you fill with purpose. Go to the gym, not to impress her, but to become unshakable. Lock into your craft, not to distract yourself, but to expand yourself. Connect with people, not to replace her, but to reclaim you. Because when she feels that your energy didn't collapse in her absence, that your world didn't fall apart because she paused the conversation, that's when she becomes curious again. Did he even notice I was gone? What is he doing that's more important than me right now? Why does his silence feel strong? You're not punishing her. You're not playing games. You're simply rooted. That's power. Reality check. Let me say it plain. Every time you act out of fear, you lose her a little more. Every time you send a just checking in message, hoping for a reaction, you lose your edge. And what attracts her isn't effort, it's edge, not ego. Edge. When you hold still in the silence, when you respect the distance without fear, you stop being one of the many and start becoming the one she can't forget. 2. Be the wall, not the wind. She's pulling away. Shorter replies, colder tone, longer gaps in between texts. Most men feel that as rejection, but a grounded man sees it differently. He knows something deeper is happening. She's not looking for attention. She's measuring gravity, not your charm, not your wit, not even your looks. She's watching for stillness, for strength. Let me explain. Imagine a man named David, mid-30s, owns his business, carries himself with confidence. He starts dating a woman with high emotional range, passionate, expressive, sometimes even unpredictable. And one evening, she suddenly says, "I just need space." Most men would take this personally. They'd react, try to fix, overtalk, plead. But David, he nodded and said, "Take all the space you need. I'll be here doing what I do." No anger, no guilt tripping, no panic. And then, silence. He didn't follow up, didn't post stories to trigger her FOMO, didn't drown in questions. He focused. A week later, she messaged him, and her words, "I don't know why, but I missed you more than I expected." Because she didn't miss his need. She missed his presence, and that presence never chased her. It stayed put. That's the wall. A wall doesn't beg the wind to stay. A wall simply stands. The wind might rage, might drift away, but it always returns when it finds no grounding anywhere else. What makes a woman feel emotionally safe? It's not how many texts you send. It's not how many compliments you give. It's how rooted you stay when her emotional weather changes. Because real attraction, real connection, isn't forged in comfort. It's forged in emotional stability. Women don't test you to break you. They test you because they want to feel safe enough to collapse into you emotionally. They need to know, if I lose myself for a moment, can you hold space without trying to fix me? If I shut down, can you stay calm? If I become distant, will your core still be intact? That's not about being cold. That's about being composed. Ask yourself, do I react emotionally when she pulls away? Do I start over-explaining when she seems distant? Do I make her the center of my emotional universe? If so, you're not grounded. You're orbiting around her moods. But what she really wants, a man whose inner peace isn't a performance, but a discipline. A man whose boundaries are quiet, but immovable. A man whose value isn't activated by attention, but revealed in silence. What to do when she tests you on. Don't collapse into reaction. When she says, "I need time," respect it. When she goes cold, stay warm, but detached. When she stops replying, don't reply to the silence with fear. 2. Double down on your mission, not as a tactic, as a truth. Use the space she gives you to deepen your life, not to win her back, but to remember who you are without her. 3. Make your emotional world bigger than one woman, because if your whole identity hangs on how she feels today, she'll never feel safe tomorrow. Real life parallel. Think of a Navy SEAL in the middle of a chaotic battlefield. His teammate panics, his breathing shortens, his focus scatters. But the SEAL, he doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't react. He scans the situation. He breathes deeper. He slows down time by commanding his state, not the chaos. That's what women are looking for emotionally. Not a soldier, but a centered operator, a calm masculine frame that doesn't need to control the storm to be powerful inside it. The masculine frame. She can trust you want her to trust you. Then show her that her emotional shifts don't define your emotional depth. That you can be calm, not passive, but powerful. When she spirals, you don't spin with her. You hold the space, not with silence as punishment, but with silence as presence. Because in that space, she finds something rare. A man who doesn't react to her chaos. A man who doesn't get triggered by her silence. A man who doesn't need her reassurance to remember his worth. That's the kind of man she returns to, not because he pulled her back, but because he never pulled away from himself. 3. Her chaos needs your calm. Let's get this straight. A woman's emotional waves are not your enemy. Her unpredictability, her silence, her fire. It's not an attack. It's a storm. And storms don't need shouting. They need grounding. Too many men try to fight the storm. They argue. They explain. They send long messages trying to clarify everything. But she doesn't want logic in that moment. She wants leadership. Story time. There's a guy named Eli. Strong, dependable, owns a small construction company. Solid guy. He started seeing a woman who was sweet most days. But every few weeks, she'd spiral emotionally. Go quiet. Send confusing texts. Say things like, "I just don't know anymore." The first few times Eli tried to fix it, he'd call, he'd say, "Let's talk it out." He'd offer solutions like it was a math problem, and every time, she drifted further, until one day, he decided to just listen. No fixing, no logic, just calm, grounded presence. She cried, she vented, she threw energy into the space, and he didn't flinch. He just stood there, like a tree in the wind. And when she was done, she said, "Thank you. I didn't need answers. I just needed to know you wouldn't disappear when I'm messy." This is what most men miss. You're not supposed to be another storm in her chaos. You're supposed to be her anchor. When her emotions feel out of control, she's not testing your brain. She's testing your core. She's asking, can I lose myself for a moment and still feel safe in his energy? If you react, if you get triggered, if you start demanding clarity while she's spiraling, you fail that test. Not because you're weak, but because you've made her pain about you. And a woman can never relax into a man who panics when she does. What true strength looks like. Strength isn't yelling. Strength isn't fixing. Strength is stillness under pressure. It's staying rooted when the emotional tide rises. You don't have to solve her problems. You just have to show her that her storm can't shake you. She doesn't need your advice. She needs your presence. And presence is silent, powerful, still. Think about it like this. If her emotions are a fire, you're not supposed to put it out. You're supposed to hold the space around it. Let her burn, let her cry, let her collapse. And in that space, If you don't flinch, don't retreat, don't react, you become unforgettable. Because in a world full of men who need to be right, a man who can sit in silence with steady energy, that's magnetic. Real-life parable, The Samurai and the Child. There's an old Japanese story of a samurai warrior. One day, his daughter threw a tantrum, screaming, crying, throwing things. His wife asked, "Why aren't you stopping her?" He said, "Because if I stop her now, she won't learn her own depth. But if I stay calm, she'll find her way back and feel safe when she does." That's how wise men respond to female energy. They don't fear the emotion. They create space for it. That space is what makes her feel like she can finally rest. And when a woman can rest in your presence, she starts to respect it. What you must do in her emotional storm. Don't interrupt. Let her speak. Let her feel. Let her move through it. Don't fix. Hold her pain without trying to solve it. Don't escalate. Stay calm, especially when she isn't. Don't internalize. Her mood is not always about you. Don't run, stay, listen, breathe, be a wall. And most importantly, don't take her chaos personally. It's not about you. It's about whether she can trust your stillness. A silent lesson. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing. Let your eyes stay steady. Let your breathing stay slow. Let your energy do the speaking. Because when she feels your stillness under pressure, she doesn't just love you. She trusts you. And when a woman trusts you, not just with her body, but with her emotions, she surrenders in ways words can't explain. That's how intimacy is built, not through performance, but through peace. 4. Let her walk, but leave the door open. There comes a moment in every man's life when she pulls away, when her good morning stops coming, when the late night calls fade, when her laughter isn't as free. And in that moment, something inside you panics, because it doesn't just feel like she's drifting, it feels like you're losing everything. But let me tell you something that will set you free. You were never meant to trap her. You were meant to be the kind of man she would choose to come back to. That difference, that's everything. Let her go without collapsing. When she says she needs time, let her take it. When she grows cold, don't chase the warmth. When she disappears, don't run after her shadow. Because if you do, you become small in her eyes. Not because you're weak, but because you've shown her that your center of gravity lies in her choice, not your truth. She doesn't want a man who begs her to stay. She wants a man who stands tall even as she walks away. That's the test she never tells you about. And that's the one most men fail. A true story of letting go. There was a guy named Marcus, mid-40s, stoic, calm, former Marine. He dated a woman for almost a year. Deep connection, strong chemistry. But then one day, she said, "I just don't feel it the way I used to." Most men would have spiraled, texted late-night paragraphs, asked for one last talk, begged for closure. But Marcus, he simply looked at her and said, "If your heart isn't sure, I'd rather you find your peace, even if it's not with me." And he walked away. He didn't chase, didn't post quotes about heartbreak, didn't try to trigger her with pictures of other women. He just kept building, stronger, quieter, clearer. 3 months later, she reached out. "I don't know what's changed," she said. "It's like I can't stop thinking about you." But Marcus didn't reply, not because he was bitter, but because by the time she realized his value, he had already outgrown her absence. Let her walk, not out of pride, but out of self-respect. You don't close the door on her. You don't block her. You don't ghost her. You just stop trying to pull her back through it. Because if what you shared was real, she'll feel it in your absence. And if it wasn't, no amount of chasing will bring her back in a way that truly lasts. You don't chase what's meant. You prepare for it, you become worthy of it, and you trust it'll return if it's aligned with the man you're becoming. Your energy must whisper, "I miss you, but I won't shrink for you." Letting her walk doesn't mean you didn't care. It means you cared enough about yourself not to lose your dignity. She'll remember that. While other men fill her inbox, you'll fill your calendar with growth. While others try to remind her what she lost, you'll become the man she can't forget. Not because of noise, but because of your silence. When she looks back, she won't remember what you said. She'll remember the strength in your eyes when she pulled away, the peace in your voice when she said goodbye, the way you didn't collapse, the man who let her go without bitterness. And that's what separates the replaceable from the unforgettable. Ask yourself, am I holding on to someone who's already let go? Am I lowering my value trying to chase clarity from someone who won't give it? Am I building a life so powerful that even if she never returns, I've still won? If you can answer yes to that last one, you're becoming the man no woman wants to lose. Let her walk, but leave the door open, not for her sake, for yours. Because you're not closing it out of fear. You're keeping it open out of confidence. And if she walks back through that door, it won't be because you pulled her. It'll be because your silence spoke louder than her doubts. 5. Stand still when she runs. You feel it in your chest. She's slipping away. Texts get colder. Calls become rare. Her energy, it's not reaching for you anymore. And the instinct kicks in. You want to act. You want to reach out. You want to fix it. But the truth, this moment isn't asking for your action. It's asking for your stillness. Stillness is power. Most men will never know. Most men think doing something is the only answer, so they double text. They ask, "Are we okay?" They offer gifts, favors, declarations of love. And what happens? The woman pulls further away, because every time you react, you prove to her your center is her presence, not your mission. Your value is her attention, not your truth. And no woman can relax into a man whose sense of worth disappears when she walks. A man named Isaac had been seeing a woman for months. Passionate connection, great chemistry. Then, out of nowhere, she grew distant. She stopped texting first. She became short in her replies. Most men would have spiraled, but Isaac didn't flinch. He didn't ask what was wrong. He didn't chase. He went deeper into his business, trained harder, read more, slept better. 2 weeks later, she messaged, "I don't know what's going on with me, but I can't stop thinking about you." Why? Because while she ran, he stood still. What stillness looks like. Stillness doesn't mean silence. It means rooted energy. You're not ignoring her. You're just not abandoning yourself. Stillness is when you feel the urge to react, but choose to observe instead. It's when her absence doesn't trigger desperation. It activates discipline. Real masculine stillness feels like this. She doesn't text. You go to the gym. She withdraws. You go deeper into your craft. She stops validating you. You validate yourself with progress. You don't punish her. You don't provoke her. You just keep becoming. Because stillness isn't passive. It's directional. You're not waiting. You're building. Think of the oak tree in the storm. When the wind howls, the oak doesn't chase it. It doesn't bend in every direction hoping to please the air. It stands tall, unmoving, rooted. The wind may circle it, test it, scream at it, but it always comes back to stillness. And when the wind is tired, it rests under the tree. It couldn't shake. Why stillness triggers her attraction? Here's a truth few men understand. When a woman pulls away, She's not just observing the distance. She's observing your behavior inside that distance. She's asking, is he emotionally anchored? Can I trust his energy when I'm unsure? Does his world collapse when mine retreats? If the answer is yes, you've just confirmed her worst fear, that she was your foundation, not your reward. But when she sees that you don't break, you don't beg, you don't collapse, that's when her curiosity turns into respect. And respect is the gatekeeper to desire. How to practice stillness in her absence. 1. Structure your day. Make your time so full of value that you have no room to spiral. 2. Train your body. Physical discomfort teaches emotional calm. 3. Build something meaningful. Business, article skill, mastery. Directional progress replaces reactive emotion. 4. Journal your urges. Write down the impulse to chase. Observe it and let it pass. 5. Meditate in silence. Let her absence be your dojo. Let your breath be your battlefield. And win. You're not waiting. You're winning. Because while she's unsure about you, you're becoming more sure of you. And in a world full of men who lose themselves chasing a woman's clarity, you're becoming a man who earns her return without asking for it. You want to be rare? Then stand still when the world says run. Be calm when your heart screams panic. Be focused when emotion tempts you to act. Because in that stillness, you don't just become the man she wants. You become the man she can't forget. 6. Become the man she can't shake by now. She's tested you. She's gone silent. She's pulled away. She's changed without explanation. And you stayed calm. You didn't chase. You didn't collapse. But there's one final level most men never reach. Becoming the man she can't shake. Let's be honest, women don't just want a man who keeps his cool. They want a man whose presence haunts their thoughts, even after they walk away. And not because you manipulated them, but because you built something so real, so deep, so unshakable, that she can't find it anywhere else. Real example, the unforgettable man. I met a man named Julian, early 30s, former athlete, now a high-performance coach. He dated a woman for a year. Deep connection, but eventually she pulled away. She didn't offer reasons. She just disappeared. And Julian, he didn't beg, didn't question, didn't break. He doubled down on himself. He used pain like a forge. He upgraded his discipline, refined his focus, built his business, and became more magnetic than ever. Months later, she reached out. "You've changed," she said. "I thought you'd fall apart, but somehow you became more." Julian smiled and replied, "I didn't change. I just stopped shrinking." And that broke her, not because of cruelty, but because she realized she left a man and returned to a force. This is who you must become. A man who doesn't just survive heartbreak. A man who uses heartbreak as fuel. Because pain, when ignored, becomes poison. But pain, when faced with presence, becomes power. Let her walk. Let her doubt. Let her test. And in her absence, don't just wait. Transform. Become the man she can't shake. Because you don't need her to be whole. This is the man she obsesses over when she's alone. The man whose silence echoes louder than other men's shouting. The man who never begged but became so undeniable she can't unsee him. You want to be that man? Then live like this. Every minute you used to text her, use it to train your body. Every hour you spent overthinking, use it to sharpen your skills. Every tear you held back, let it shape your purpose. Every unanswered question, let it push you deeper into truth. She's not used to men like that. She's used to men who fold, panic, and post quotes about heartbreak. But when she feels your evolution, not your pain, she begins to wonder, did I walk away from a phase or a man I'll never find again. You don't become unforgettable by telling her you are. You become unforgettable by becoming so complete, so purposeful, so calm and composed that any woman who steps into your life realizes, this isn't a man I can keep unless I level up too. You shift the gravity, and now it's not you needing her to choose you. It's her asking herself, am I strong enough to stand beside the man he's becoming? Ask yourself right now, am I folding or forging? Am I reacting to her energy or commanding my own? Am I the kind of man who turns heartbreak into fuel? If the answer is yes, then you've already won, because whether she returns or not, you've built a life so powerful, so purposeful, so peaceful, that no woman can ever take it away. And if she does come back, you welcome her. Not because you need her, but because she sees your value without you having to prove it. That's not ego, that's gravity. Let her feel the man you've become. You want to be unforgettable, then stop proving, stop explaining, stop chasing, start building, start embodying, start rising. Because when she looks back, let her see a man unmoved, a man she couldn't shake, a man she couldn't replace, and a man whose silence didn't scream pain. It radiated power. If this message hit something deep inside you, don't just nod and move on. Live it. Let this be the moment you stop chasing women and start chasing your potential. Let this silence become your signal. Let this pain become your power. And if you're walking this road alone, remember, you're not the only man in the silence. We've been there. We've felt the sting of unanswered messages, and we've risen from it. Now it's your turn. So if this podcast spoke your language, like it, share it, subscribe. Not for the algorithm, for the next man who's about to break, for the man staring at his phone, waiting on a reply that will never come until he becomes the man who no longer needs it. And if that's you, comment below, I rise, I don't chase, because this isn't just a podcast. It's a movement, a brotherhood of men who choose strength over reaction, presence over panic, and purpose over validation. So rise, in silence, in solitude, and let the world feel the man she couldn't shake.